In different parts of the United States, several young individuals committed unthinkable crimes. From Sierra Helseth and Aaron Guerrero's gruesome murder in Las Vegas to Tyler Hadley's party-turned-nightmare in Florida, each story reveals a dark side. Join us as we explore these disturbing cases, questioning what could drive teenagers to such extremes, and raising concerns about the impact of disconnected realities on young minds. Sierra Hess. In Las Vegas, Nevada, a family disagreement took a dark turn when Sierra Helseth and Aaron Guerrero, both teenagers deeply in love, went down a sinister path. Sierra's dad disapproved of their relationship, but instead of finding a solution, Sierra and Aaron resorted to an unthinkable act. They brutally murdered Sierra's father. The grim discovery was made on April 9, 2021, when the father's body was found in a sleeping bag, riddled with 70 stab wounds. The horror didn't stop there. In a chilling twist, Sierra and Aaron attempted to dismember the body with saws, and even set it on fire before leaving it in the garage. The motive behind such a heinous crime left many questioning what could drive two young individuals to commit such a horrific act. During the court proceedings, Sierra shocked everyone when, with an emotionless expression, she revealed a letter painting her father as an abuser and a pedophile. She claimed that his alleged harassment led to his demise. Regardless of the circumstances, it was clear that Sierra had undergone a disturbing transformation. In a deeply unsettling video recorded days after the murder, Sierra and Aaron were seen laughing and gloating about their crime. Despite their motives, justice prevailed, and the court sentenced both Sierra and Aaron to life in prison. Sierra, in particular, received the possibility of parole after serving 22 years. The judge outlined the severity of their punishment, emphasizing the consequences for their actions. The chilling nature of the crime left a community grappling with shock and confusion, trying to comprehend the depths of darkness that unfolded within a family. Nehemiah Griego. In New Mexico, 10 years ago, something really bad happened with a 15-year-old boy named Nehemiah Griego. He went crazy in his own home using big guns like an AR-15 and a .22 caliber rifle. It was like he was on a mission to hurt everyone around him. Sadly, he shot and killed his mom, who was 40 years old, his little brother, who was just 9, and even his two sisters, aged 5 and 2. Griego didn't stop there. He waited among the dead bodies for his dad to show up, planning to hurt him too. After this terrible thing at home, Griego went to church like nothing happened. The pastor at the church found out and told the police. Shockingly, when the police looked into it, they couldn't find a clear reason why Griego did such a terrible thing. The only thing they figured out was that he felt really sad and frustrated with his mom. But that doesn't explain why he would hurt his whole family, even the little kids. Griego admitted that he did it, and he had to go to court twice, once as a kid and once as a grown-up. During the grown-up trial, something surprising happened. Griego suddenly felt sorry for what he did. He faced the people in his family who survived, said he was sorry, and talked about feeling guilty. But his sister couldn't forgive him. She started crying. Even the person who represents the law, called the district attorney, didn't feel sorry for Griego. The district attorney said that, as a detective, he had seen a lot of bad things, but this case was the one that haunted him every day. In the end, Griego got a life sentence, which means he will be in prison for a really long time, plus 7 more years, all at the same time. When he's 52, he might have a chance to get out of prison, but that's only a maybe. Dylan Shoemaker. In Springville, Utah, there's a story about a guy named Dylan Shoemaker who did something really terrible. He was taking care of his girlfriend's 2 kids, and one of them, a 2-year-old, was crying a lot. Instead of being a normal person and trying to make the little kid feel better, Shoemaker did something really bad. He covered the kid's head with a pillow and hit him to make him be quiet. Sadly, the little child got hurt so badly that he didn't survive. When they went to court, Shoemaker tried to act like he was sorry, crying and saying he didn't mean to hurt the child. But his act was as bad as what he did. The lawyers, one on each side, couldn't agree on how bad Shoemaker's crime was, whether it was like a big accident or if he really meant to hurt the kid a lot. Even though the little kid had no way to protect himself, there were other things going on, like Shoemaker not being able to control his anger and not knowing how to take care of kids. The defense lawyer said Shoemaker might not do it again, but we can't be sure. In the end, Shoemaker was in big trouble. facing charges like trying to kill someone and hurting them really badly. But in court, he tried to say he didn't want to kill the kid, which didn't fool anyone. There was even a video of him saying he could just cry in front of the jury, and they would feel sorry for him. The judge and jury saw through his act, and he got a punishment of 18 years to life in prison. And maybe he could get out in 2031. But these apologies in court didn't make people feel sorry for the murderers. Tyler Hadley. In Port St. Lucie, Florida, there's a shocking story about a 17-year-old named Tyler Hadley. He planned a murder like something out of a scary movie. First, he tricked a bunch of people into coming to a party, but little did they know it would turn into a nightmare. After taking drugs, Tyler brutally killed his own mom and dad, Mary Jo and Blake Hadley, with a claw hammer during the party. The awful smell of their bodies made the situation even scarier. A guy named Michael Mandel, who Tyler confessed to, had a really tense time at the party until he could escape and report the terrible crime. Tyler had a history of big problems with drugs and had been in trouble before for arson, vandalism, theft, battery, and hurting a child with his dad's car, which he used without permission. The breaking point was when his parents tried to get him help for his drug issues, and his reaction was to take their lives. During the trial, the state wanted to give Tyler the death penalty, but he was too young, so he got a life sentence. This was reconsidered in 2016, but applied again in 2018. Tyler had the nerve to apologize in court, saying he was sorry for what he did. However, his own brother asked for the harshest punishment possible, wanting Tyler to be in prison for life without parole. Other family members also spoke in court, with some hoping Tyler could change and have a better life outside. But Tyler's apology didn't mean much, especially when his brother asked for the toughest sentence. Sometimes being disconnected from reality can lead to really horrible things. Daniel Petrick. Let me tell you about Daniel Patrick, a 16-year-old who got lost between reality and video games. After a skiing accident left him with a lot of time, Daniel became obsessed with video games, especially Halo. Things got really bad when he argued with his parents about getting the game and ended up horrifically imitating it. In a disastrous move, Daniel stole his dad's handgun and shot both his mom and dad. His dad survived, but sadly, his mom didn't make it. After fleeing in a van, the police caught Daniel. In court, things changed for both Daniel and his father. Daniel was seen crying, and his dad, showing genuine emotion, seemed to forgive him, even defending his son. With the defense and psychiatrists arguing that Daniel couldn't separate reality from video game fiction, he couldn't get the death penalty. Unlike cases involving drugs or disconnection, this wasn't about a substance influencing him. According to his father, Daniel had a habit of not telling the truth, even calling him a pathological liar. Daniel ended up with a life sentence, with a chance for parole after 23 years. This case highlights that forgiveness has its limits when it comes to justice. While some say video games lead to violence, this story makes it clear that childhood trauma can be way more damaging. Seth Privaki. Let me tell you about Seth Privaki. Growing up, his parents weren't kind to him, and this led him into a dark world of drugs and stealing. When he was just 18 in Muskegon, Michigan on November 29, 1998, things took a terrible turn. Privaki went on a brutal killing spree, shooting his parents, his brother, his grandfather, and his brother's girlfriend. While the authorities couldn't point to a clear motive, it was evident that a lack of love played a role. In the courtroom, Privaki apologized, but it's hard to say if it was genuine. In 1999, he received a life sentence without parole. The story took a crazy turn a decade later. In prison, Privaki and some other guys took control of a tractor trailer and crashed through the prison fence. Guards fired, and sadly, Privaki got hit in the head by a bullet, ending his life. It makes you think about irony and karma. You reap what you sow. Whether it was karma or a sad tale of an unloved boy, that's for you to decide. But often, it's mental illness that leads to these horrifying crimes. Jake Evans. Let me tell you about Jake Evans. He was just 17, living in a Texas mansion in Parker County. One day, something in him snapped. He grabbed a .22 caliber pistol and shot his mother and young sister on a whim. It's really sad, but he immediately called 911. The call was scary. Evans sounded like he was going through something really tough. In the call, he admitted he had been planning to kill for a while. Shockingly, he was thinking about killing his other sisters and grandparents too. He mentioned getting inspiration from a movie and feeling disconnected from people. The 911 operator tried to understand why he was so angry at his family, and Evans struggled to explain, talking about people being rude and emotionally harsh. When it came to court, things got even weirder. Evans looked so young, like the teenager he was, but he pleaded guilty for what he did. People argued about how much time he should spend in prison. In the end, he was charged with capital murder and got 45 years with a chance of getting out on parole halfway through. This one doesn't feel right. It seems like this young man needed help for what he was going through, not just a prison sentence. It's a tough situation that leaves you wondering if things could have been different with the right kind of support. Jacob Morgan. Let me tell you about Jacob Morgan. He was just 17 in South Carolina, responsible for looking after his 14-month-old baby brother, Joshua. One day, a fire broke out accidentally, and things got really tragic. Morgan, who is on the autism spectrum, changed his statements about how it happened, but it was related to his fascination with fire. In court, Morgan was in shock and tears. The hidden truth was that he started the fire because of his condition and fascination with fire. Unfortunately, baby Joshua couldn't make it. Morgan wasn't charged with murder but got 10 years for involuntary manslaughter. He also got 15 years for arson, and there's 5 years of probation. Morgan's expression during his sentencing still looked really sad. It's a tough situation. Morgan's condition and fascination with fire led to a terrible accident, and it leaves you thinking about how complex things can get. The legal ruling might seem unfair to some, but it's clear that the focus was on Morgan's situation and the unintentional consequences rather than outright murder. It's a sad story that raises questions about understanding and supporting individuals with unique conditions. In these chilling stories of young individuals gone astray, we've witnessed the dark consequences of misguided actions. From murders driven by misguided love to tragic accidents, these cases beg us to question the complex factors influencing such choices. Join us as we delve into the shadows, exploring the thin line between tragedy and justice. What could prevent these horrors, and is understanding the key? Stay with us to unravel the mysteries of these troubling tales.